Welcome to Lesson 4, the Prep Beat, Part 1. How do we launch a congregation or choir together? Well, just by way of introduction, there are two things that have to work in tandem. Obviously, there's the gesture, but with the gesture, there has to be the breath. Now, if we have to choose between one or the other of these, we'll go with the breath every time. In other words, if you have to either breathe or gesture, drop your hands and breathe. They'll be with you. But ideally, we'll work with the two together. Now, let me show you how this works if we have to do either one or the other. Let's start with Amazing Grace, and you go ahead and sing Amazing Grace. I'm not going to sing so that you don't have an unfair advantage, but you just start at the right place. I'm going to do it two different ways. One is with just the gesture. The other is with only the breath. All right? Here's the first way. Do, do. That's a little bit hard to do by video, but I bet you get the idea. Let's try the other way. Do, do. And I bet you didn't know where to start. Of course, if we put them together, that's what's ideal. So let's start working in that direction. Now, how does this work that these actually work together? Well, let's say that a song is starting on the beat. The basic principle is this. You breathe and gesture one beat before the song starts. Well, what do we mean? Let's look. Let's suppose a song is in 3/4. Holy God, we praise thy name. Well, if you look it up, you will see that it actually begins on beat 1. And so the song begins right here on beat 1. But since we breathe and gesture one beat before beat 1, that's beat 3. And so we're going to go holy, like so. Let's try that in context. All right. Holy God, etc. But now there's another song in 3/4 that actually begins on beat 3, Amazing Grace. So since the song begins on beat 3, we have to gesture and breathe one beat before, which is beat 2. So it looks something like this. Amen. And if we put that into context, it looks like this. Amazing. And again, let me show you what I did. I started ready for beat 2. So here's beat 2. We'll start to sing on beat 3. So we'll start here. Our gesture and our breath start on beat 2. Amen. Okay, so that's what it looks like when the song starts on a full beat. Let's look at a few more illustrations of this. Here's one in 2/4. Rejoice, rejoice, ye Christians all. Well, this is in 2/4. The song starts on beat 2. One beat before beat 2 is beat 1. So we're going to start the gesture and the breath on beat 1. Do, do. Rejoice, rejoice, ye Christians all. Show you one more time. Rejoice, rejoice, ye Christians all. Let's look at another song in 3/4, O Worship the King. It starts, the song begins on beat 3, which means we will breathe and gesture on beat 2. Do, do. O worship the King. One more time. O worship the King. Let's try one in 4/4 now. Stand up and bless the Lord. And again, it starts on a full beat. This is in 4/4, and it begins on beat 4, which means that we will breathe on beat 3. Do, 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 do. Stand up and bless the Lord, ye. Let me show that one more time. Stand up and bless the Lord. Well, it would be nice if all songs would start on the full beat, but of course, it's not that simple. Some songs start in the middle of a beat. Let's look at one of those songs now, For God So Loved Us. This song is in 3/4, but it doesn't start on beat 3. It actually starts in the middle of beat 2. So here's the principle for a song that starts in the middle of the beat. You actually begin on that beat. So since it begins in the middle of beat 2, we'll breathe quickly and gesture starting with beat 2. It looks like this. For God so loved us, he sent. Let me show that again. For God so loved us, he sent the. Okay, so that's how it is if you're starting a song in the middle of a beat, and again, you actually begin your gesture and your breath on that same beat. All right, let's try it on another song. This one's in 6/8. How pleasant thus to dwell below. How pleasant thus to dwell below is in 6/8, and you'll remember from earlier lessons that 6/8 is actually a meter that doesn't have 6 big beats in it. It has 2 big beats. And this song starts at the very end of beat 2. So, going back to our principle, since it starts in the middle of beat 2, or actually in the 2/3, the last 2/3 of beat 2, then we begin our gesture and our breath on beat 2. It looks like this. How pleasant thus to dwell below. Let me try that again. How pleasant thus to dwell below. So there is a bit of how to get the song launched. Remember, congregations can start together. Practice these skills. Encourage your congregation to start singing on the first word. They don't need to wait until the second or third or fourth word to launch. If you get these skills down to where you're comfortable with them, you can actually train your congregation to be right there with you, right on the first word. Thanks again for joining us, and come back for the next lesson where we have Prep Beat Part 2. My name is Wendell Nisley, and I am the Executive Director of Shenandoah Christian Music Camp. We're delighted to be able to bring to you Song Leading Basics, learning the basics of how to lead a congregation or choir. And we're glad to be able to bring it to you free of charge. But of course, producing video series like this is not free at all. And if you're interested in helping to fund it, to keep this kind of content coming, we invite you to donate. You can go online to our website at www.musiccamp.info.